It's just me. That's good. I just wanted to make sure. Oh, no.
Oops, sorry. I think there's some other people too.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This is why I wanted just to double check because I saw that it was at 4 o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah, it was at 4 o'clock Central Time. So
Yeah. No, you're perfectly fine. According to the registration, this is the time. It was. We wanted it to start at 5, but on the registration we accidentally put 4. So when I noticed that, I just figured that some people might have logged on early. So yeah, just in case you have things to do, um, I can do a really quick run through for you as well. So I'm going to turn on my camera. No pressure to put yours on. I just want you to be able to see who I am. But yeah, my name is Oluwase Adeleke. My middle name is Samuel, so I go by Sam. Can you both introduce yourselves and uh, just tell me why you're interested in the program?
yeah, sure. So my name is Naja Frisbee. I'm a student at Northeastern Illinois University, a senior. So I'm not sure if this program applies to me, but it is something that caught my interest. I'm studying economics. I have taken economics courses related to health. I took a health. I'm taking health economics right now, and I took a cancer data science course too. So this is something I do have some interest in, and I just wanted to explore my options.
Definitely. Thank you so much. Trudy, would you like to introduce yourself? I know they might have walked away from the computer. And then how about Genghis? Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Uh, can y'all hear me? Sorry.
Yes, we can.
Awesome. Let me get my camera started. Hey guys.
How you doing? Appreciate the background. I like when I'm not the only one with the background.
Yeah, right. They really help brighten up like the Zoom calls because I mean my background is just a curtain, but
Yeah.
the moving ones are really nice. And I've been to Hawaii, so I
Oh,
love these sorts of environments.
yeah.
So, um, but yeah, sorry. To digress. My name is Jengis. I'm a senior student at Northeastern Illinois University. My future goals involve going to medical school or working in the medical field. I just don't know. I'm working on it. But I'm currently taking, well, I've just finished up anatomy and I'll be looking into getting into anatomy too and medical geography, or I think that's the word, medical geography, something like that. Geology? No, geology is. But um, I'm here today because I'm I am interested in fighting back cancer, and I do want to learn more and help in any way that I can. So
Definitely. Awesome. Thank you so much. And you said it's pronounced Genghis?
yeah, Genghis,
Okay.
Genghis, they're both good. They're no,
What,
they both work. It just
but
depends.
what works for you best?
Genghis,
Genghis.
Genghis
Just
works.
want to double check. Yeah. I mean, like I said, my name is Oluwase. I don't like hearing my name is pronounced all the time. So that's why I
Uh,
would respect like to ask other people. But thank you so much for the introduction. Um, and
mhm.
then Trudy, are you still on the line?
Yes, yes, I am. I think I muted myself accidentally. I
Oh, you're
unmuted
fine.
myself. Can you
Okay.
hear me?
Awesome. Yeah, we can.
Okay. Well, I'm a political science master student, and I just wanted to explore my options. I was going to pursue an IRAD internship, but it's always good to expand my experiences and see and apply something that is totally out of my uh, area of expertise, which still might uh, revolve back, and then I could include it in what my interests are, which is mostly business and politics, because cancer is a very important topic to so many people, and I'm very active in the community activism, etc., and activism helping uh, people that are suffering from cancer is very important as well. I just wanted to drop in and see what this is all about.
Definitely. Thank you all so much. So yeah, like I said, we weren't really planning to get started until 5 o'clock. But with that being said, though, the whole goal of this entire conversation was meant to kind of give you all more insight about Chicago Check, but most importantly, provide you all insight about how the program is ran from a virtual standpoint. So last year was our first cohort where we did the program fully online. Because COVID is looking like it's going to end relatively soon, but we still don't have a timestamp on it, we decided to just go ahead and make this program virtual as well. We are open to being flexible in changing that and doing a hybrid experience, but that's only if, you know, things work out perfectly. And if this year is any indication of next year, then we're just preparing for, you know, the alternative, which is to do the program fully online. But, you know, because I want to respect your all's time, and I know that this is finals week. I mean, it's finals week for me as well. I don't want to make you all wait here for 30 minutes until the other students come. So I just wanted to go ahead and just have a conversation to answer any questions that you all might have. And then whenever you all are comfortable, you can either stay on till 5 o'clock and wait for the other students, or if you got other things to do, then you can go ahead and jump off. And just, you know, we have your information since you registered via the Zoom link. So it's perfect. So we'll be able to then follow up with you all, make sure you get the flyers, application links, that sort of thing as well. So yeah, I'm going to pass the mic off to all of you all. And then, yeah, go ahead and introduce yourself as well, Jolie.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Jolie Brinkman. I'm the site director at Northeastern for Chicago Check, and I wanted to welcome you all. Like, thank you for joining us this afternoon. I don't know if you would like us to sort of start off with a little bit of like just an introduction to the program, or maybe talk a little bit about the application procedure. I can maybe start with just sort of an overview of a program. So our Check Fellows summer program has become really, really popular, and it's actually very, very multifaceted. Okay, so it's not just doing research. You are, as a Check Fellow, you will be doing many, many different types of activities. You will be doing professional development activities. You'll be meeting with leaders from Northwestern, UIC, and Northeastern, and talking to a lot of people about their path and how they got to where they are, like their careers. And really what we're trying to do ultimately is we're trying to create, you know, warriors for health disparities. We want agents for change, and so that's what we are trying to do with this program. If it would help, I can actually show a video that one of our cohorts had put together. It'll actually take me just a second to find it, maybe.
Yes.
But
Yeah, while you're pulling that up, actually, can you enable screen share for me?
oh, sure.
Yeah. So while you're pulling that up, just so everything that she said is kind of like it's easily visual, you all can visualize it a little bit better. I'm just gonna go ahead and start this presentation as well. It's really, really quick. But yeah, this was something that was created a few years ago, a part of Research Start and Chicago Check. Research Start isn't really all that important, but it's just kind of like the sister program. So I'll be just focusing on all the Chicago Check stuff. So this is essentially everything that you can expect to experience while you're in the program. The entire idea, like Jolie was saying, was to just help you all become agents of change in your community. And we do that in 3 main ways. The first way is we give you all the opportunity to network and be led in presentations and lectures by shakers and movers in the cancer industry. And so we get speakers from not only UIC, but Northeastern and Northwestern as well. So because it's a collaboration between these 3 institutions, we're able to tap onto different speakers from each of those institutions. The second component of the program is site visits. Now, because of COVID, that looks a little bit different. So last year we were kind of doing virtual site visits where we would invite people from some of the different sites around the city and have them come in and talk to them about essentially what would have had happened at that site. The reason why this is really important is because you all are able to kind of see the way cancer research impacts communities live and direct, right? So oftentimes these site visits that we attend, there are program partners. And so we work with these programs and these partners to just make sure that we're getting them all the information and all the resources they need to tackle cancer disparities in their communities. And then finally, the third proportion is like oftentimes students' favorite portion, which is pretty much just a literature review that you all are broken up into groups of about 4 or 5, and you all are tasked with coming up with this literature review and doing a poster presentation that will be done in front of your friends and your family at the symposium that we have every year. Like, once again, this looks a little different, so everything exists virtually, but you can still, I can guarantee you, based off of how the program went last year, that it's still going to be extremely, extremely beneficial and impactful. So just to run through these dates for Chicago Check, this is off, so I apologize for that. But if you just change everything to a 1, that's essentially what the timeline is. So the application had opened up last month. It is due February 28th of 2021. And then we select those finalists for between March and April of next year. And then we interview you all. And then by the end of May, you all would have gotten some type of correspondence from us as to whether or not you got into the program. And then the program this year starts on June 14th, 2021, and it ends on August 6th, 2021. And I can follow up with the correct information on the flyer after this as well. Just the eligibility for Research Start, for Chicago Check, is you have to be a U.S. citizen or permanent resident to receive the stipend. At the time, the stipend kind of fluctuates up and down. Most recently, it was $4,200 this past summer, but we like to just keep it at the very least $3,600, just because we just want to make sure that you all are able to. If you have a summer job that you typically work, or you need to take care of family, you have bills that you have to pay, and we want to make sure we're giving you all a competitive stipend, and that's why the number continues to grow each year. So I can guarantee that it most likely won't be 3,600, or it'll most likely be a little higher than that. And like I said, most recently the cohort had the cohort was 4,200. And then you have to be a rising sophomore, junior, senior, or, so for the student who had asked me if they're not eligible because of their year in school, you can be a current senior. So essentially, you can, as long as you are in school at Northwestern, Northeastern, or NEIU, or UIC, I'm sorry, then you can be a part of the program. And then if you're a recent graduate as well, but a recent graduate of no more than 2 years, you're also still eligible. And then in addition to these 3 universities, if you have friends or family at the city colleges of Chicago, they are also eligible to apply for this program as well. And so last year was amazing because that was probably the biggest cohort of city college students that we ever had in the program. And so the reason why this program is amazing is because you are able to connect and network with students not only at your own institution, but as well as the different institutions. And so then you have friends all over the city that you can kind of tap into and figure out what's going on over there, and if there's any opportunities that you should be aware of that you would have not heard about had you not been a part of this program and had a chance to meet them. We do have this program where this fellowship is a 40-hour week commitment. So it is essentially a full-time job. We meet Monday through Friday from 9 to 5. And once again, that's a part of the reason why we try to increase that stipend or make the stipend amount as competitive as possible, so that you don't have to feel like you need to pick and choose between, working or being a part of this program, because doing both is literally impossible. Even though this program is virtual, it still is difficult to try to juggle more than one thing.
Can I ask you something really quick?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, I'll be stepping away from my computer for a little bit.
Okay.
That's fine. So like I said, if you remember, I do have an economics background. I'd be graduating with a degree in economics.
Yeah.
Do you have opportunities? Is this something that an economics major can do? Or is this something specifically geared towards people interested in medical school?
Yeah, that's a great question. So this is just interested into students who want to be agents of change. So I always enjoyed meeting other students who were economics majors, because that was actually my major. And so I completely forgot to let you all know, but I actually am a former Chicago Check participant. So just like you, my senior year of college, I applied to this program. I was going to be graduating with a degree in economics, but I think the most interesting thing about this is this is really multidisciplinary research, right? So we need people from all over the spectrum of education to really be able to tap into this. So I believe you're an NEIU student, for example, and one of our core one of our core co-leads, so the person who's in charge of the education, research and education component of this grant is actually Dr. Sasirsky, who's a professor of economics at NEIU as well. So that just lets you know that there is space for you to come in here. It just might look a little bit different in terms of what you ultimately want to do at the end of the program, or what you want to do when you continue through the program, when you continue through your education career. But yeah, you don't have to necessarily be someone who wants to go to medical school to participate and benefit from this program. You just want to have to be someone who wants to improve their communities, as it relates to cancer research. So when I applied to the program, I was really interested in doing economics research to see, how does cancer, how can economics influence cancer outcomes and so on and so forth. So definitely. And I kind of touched on this, so I won't spend too much more time on this slide. But yeah, you essentially get hands-on experience. You also get these skill building workshops. And then the mentorship is really important as well. And so you are able, because it's such a competitive program, it's a really intimate space that we create for you all. So it's really, getting to meet all of these guest speakers and them knowing your name by the end of their presentation and being able to follow up with them and have them become mentors for you, I think is an invaluable skill. I recently just started my graduate program this past fall, and all of my letters of recommendation had came from all the mentors I had met while I was in Chicago Check. And yeah, then you get exposure to Illinois' top universities. And then to answer your question even more, possible education tracks in medical. So people who are interested in medical school, pharmacy school, just grad school in general, College of Applied Health and Science, College of Nursing, Dentistry, that type of thing. And then the careers are, physician, nurse, medical assistant, so much more. But yeah, we like to encourage students not to feel as if they wouldn't be competitive enough if they aren't someone who's coming from a biology or chemistry background. We just really want the most creative and passionate students to be a part of this program. Like I said, we do a lot of different programming. So while a lot of the guest speakers who come in are they do have that cancer background and that cancer research background, we also invite guest speakers on the other side of the spectrum who are artists and who will tell you how to empathize well with people, and how you can do that through just basic conversation, and just learning how to just increase your empathy skills as well. So we get a bunch of different type of guest speakers every year, and I think that that's always my favorite part, is to see how can we make this so fun and let you all see how cancer research can literally be applied to any career. Like I said, I'm a part of this program, but I'm in graduate school for design, and so one of my ultimate goals is to create packaging and art and all this type of stuff around cancer. And so as you if I'm able to do that, or when I'm able to do that, it's going to be in that umbrella of doing something cancer related, even though I'm not a medical doctor. So just be as creative as possible, especially when it comes to your application and writing those essays. So that's this, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen and pass it back to Jolie, who can then show the video. And then for the people who came early, you can decide to stay on, or you can decide to hop off after that, because I do know we have new people who came in recently. I just want to let you all know you're not late, you're actually early. There was a discrepancy on the registration thing, so we had accidentally had it start at 4 when we wanted it to be 5. So all of our guest speakers will be coming in at that time. So yes.
Okay. Thanks, Sam. You did a great job with that. So I'll just quickly show you this video. And this video was actually a group project that was made by our 2019 cohort. So as we might have mentioned, during this program, you will do a lot of group projects and group work, and every year it changes. So we had to get really, really creative last summer because we had to run the program online. But I think we came up with some really, really interesting projects. And like I said, this is a former project that, can everybody see my screen okay? Yeah, okay.
Yes.
All right.
The Chicago Cancer Health Equity Collaborative aims to reduce disparities in cancer health. It's supported by the National Cancer Institute and led by Northwestern University, Northeastern Illinois University, and University of Illinois at Chicago. An important aspect of this is the Research Fellows Program. In this program, we bring together a group of diverse students in order to give them a solid foundation for health equity research. These aspiring healthcare professionals and researchers will then be well equipped to address health disparities in our communities. The fellows spend 8 weeks attending workshops and lectures with leading research professionals. These lectures cover a wide range of topics, things like public health policy and advocacy,
There's Sam.
oncology, women's health, and community health. The fellows also get hands-on learning experiences that they wouldn't ordinarily get until they're much further along in their careers. Our community partners offer an immersive experience. So the fellows are actually able to see firsthand how health equity programs are changing the community right now. They see examples of great work being done for people affected by cancer, for immigrant communities, and underserved populations. Work that really makes a difference. The fellows' impact on health equity will be seen in the years to come as they take the next steps on their career paths. Giving everyone the opportunity to achieve their highest level of health, to live health for all, is why partnerships like Chicago CHEK matter.
Yeah, so as you can see, they did a really, really great job of putting together the video. And hopefully that gives you a little bit more insight into our program. I know Sam was just talking about a lot of really, really salient features. I don't know if you recognize Sam in the video there, you know, that was his cohort. But another thing that's another kind of cool thing about this program is that Chicago CHEK works with over 20 community partners across the city of Chicago, like in different sort of areas, you know. We work with Alice Wings, which is like a foundation, I think that was, or Gilda's Club, that was a foundation that was built off of Gilda Radner, the famous comedian from Saturday Night Live who died of breast cancer. That's like one of our community partners. Another community partnership we have is with Instituto, which is a high school on the south side of Chicago. So we have a real variety of community partners, and you will get to actually meet all these people and talk to them, and just the perspectives that they bring to, you know, trying to solve this problem of, you know, health disparities in cancer. It's really an opportunity to get a unique perspective on that. So I'm looking here and see some chat messages.
Yeah, so does anyone, you know, especially for the original, I think 3 or 4 students that were here, do you all have any other questions specific to the program, specific to it being online or virtual, I should say, that we can answer for you potentially early before the other students who actually were a part of the program can maybe tell you about the student experience? Because we'll be able to tell you about everything, but only they can tell you about their specific student experience.
Yeah, so what would be the program go? Will it be virtual or we need to come over there?
Yeah, so the program will be virtual at this point. We're hosting it virtually. So last year there was a lot of nerves about doing it virtually because it was the first time that we had ever done it. But this year is going to be our second year doing it virtual. And so because we have so much more expertise and we are also been able to get some feedback from students on how to improve the program, we believe that this year even has the opportunity to be better than last year. And last year, the bar was set extremely high. I think the students were able to, and I even think the students were actually able to develop really meaningful relationships with one another, even though they technically hadn't ever physically met. And so when you spend, 8 hours on the computer, obviously with breaks in between, when you spend that many hours on a computer just talking about such impactful stuff, there's really no way that you can't develop these deep relationships. And then on top of that as well, because of the weird, or because of the, I guess you can say, novel experience of doing everything virtually as well. A lot of our guest speakers were extremely open and willing to, be flexible, not only for our program, but for the students as well. And so another component of the program that we were nervous that students would miss out on a little bit was that ability to develop mentorship from the guest speakers. But the guest speakers were so open and willing to do so, especially because COVID was such a novel thing. And, Zoom calls were such a novel thing at the time. I think everyone is kind of used to it at this point. But yeah, I think that we can expect that same level of flexibility from our guest speakers next year, because even though it'll be a year since COVID started, I mean, a year is still extremely, recent. So I think that everyone is still in that, that energy of, being extremely flexible with one another. So I think, to answer your question more concisely, the program is going to be happening virtually, but the goal of the program is to just expose you all to topics in cancer research, provide you all mentors, and then give you all a research project that you can do at the end of the semester, at the end of the program, that you all would then present to a larger group of people that will include your friends and your family.
Thank you so much. That answers my question. I have a small follow-up questions too. Yeah, so for computer engineers or computer scientists, is there any room for applications and all that stuff? I want to know.
For sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We have, in the past, we've had a pretty strong computer science component to a lot of the projects, our research projects under Chicago Check. And so, yeah, absolutely. I would encourage you to apply. Computer science is extremely applicable to being able to do health disparities research.
So when we apply, is there some other part where we can select from which background do we come, and then according to our background, we will be given the projects?
Yes and no. So yes, you'll be able to mark what your I guess your major background is,
Yes.
but no, in terms of we don't assign projects based off your background. You all actually decide your projects based off of your experience over the summer. So for example, when I was a part of the program, we're doing a lot of research about cancer disparities, but it was specifically, we were doing cancer disparities research, and we were specifically interested in learning how HPV impacts people's ability to then get cancer later on in life. And that was a topic that someone had came into us and kind of explained HPV and its role in cancer. So my group thought that was the most interesting thing we had learned all summer. And so as a result, we decided to do our project on that specific thing. So yeah, your projects are actually developed by you. They're literature reviews. So they're not anything super stressful, as much as they're going to teach you all how to conduct a literature review and then also work in big groups, which is all important stuff. And then Trudy, you have a question?
I think you might have answered it. So,
Okay.
the projects are individual projects, or is it a group project from? If it is a group project, with how many students and among different students in the different schools, or with the cohort from Northeastern?
Yeah. So and to let me just bring everything back, just so I'm making sure I'm explaining everything correctly. So essentially, even though students from Northwestern, Northeastern, UIC, and the city colleges are able to apply, after you are admitted into the program, you really don't walk around with like, oh, I'm a UIC student, or you all become one family, one Chicago Check family, essentially. And so at that point, where your institution is really won't make a difference in terms of how we decide to organize everyone. At that point, after everyone is matriculated into the program, you're just a part of the program, and so everyone is kind of starts in the same square. And so, to answer your question about the specifically about the summer program and the project, that will break you off into about groups of typically 3 or 4. Last year it was a little bit larger because we had admitted more students because it was virtually. So yeah, but let's just say 3 or 4. So we'll break you off into groups of 3 or 4, regardless of what institution you are a part of. We'll just on the staff side, we decide that on our own, based off of some paperwork that you all submit, like we do like personality tests and all this other stuff. And so that's kind of how we come up with how we'll break you off into groups. So it's less about what school you went to and more about just what your personality is and who we think you would be able to work alongside and grow in your team working skills by the end of the summer. And so I don't know if I answered all your questions. I feel like you had one more about the the project. But yeah, it's just a literature review to reiterate that. So you're not going to have to be finding any new information as much as you're going to be just building on information that already exists to then take it to a new idea, which essentially is what a literature review is. And so for folks who have yet to do literature reviews, this is going to be an extremely important skill for you to gain. And for people who have done literature reviews, oftentimes you do this alone. So this is going to be an opportunity for you to improve your literature review skills, but more importantly, to also improve your team working skills, which I know for a fact I had never worked on a project this big with other people. And so it really taught me a lot about teamwork, communication, and how to effectively get your point across and do it in a very respectful manner, which I think a lot of people need to work on because, you know, moving forward, this is what, you know, your adult life will be post undergrad. You know, everything I do is a part of the team. Jolie's here with me because we're a part of the same team. So team working is essential.
Mhm. And the project, I heard something about having a presentation at the end with a poster board, etc. If we're going to be doing it virtually, are we able to do that with the poster board with the team members apart?
Yeah, so we are. So yeah, typically it is in person, or I should say historically had been in person, but because it's going to be virtual, you all are going to have a virtual poster board. So essentially, and we do a lot of you all will kind of get a walkthrough about how to like actually develop a poster. So with that being said, we will invite everyone to a Zoom call. It'll be your friends, your family, all of the faculty that had come in to speak to you over that summer as well, and maybe a couple of other people from the Chicago Check staff who might not necessarily work in me and Jolie's team, but they're still a part of the entire overall Chicago Check team. And yeah, that poster presentation will kind of be done that way. So that's going to be up to you all to kind of practice offline to see who's going to say what and where people kind of come in. But you know, Zoom has amazing capabilities. So like I said, this past summer, everyone gave their presentation with, I would say, little to no hiccups at all. I think the most important thing and the most interesting thing about the presentation and the poster is, even though you won't technically be able to print it out if it's not in person, the process is still very much the same. So while developing your poster, you're going to learn actually how to create a poster that would have been able to be printed if we were printing them, but it's going to teach you the dimensions you're supposed to be using for posters. It'll teach you how big the sizes of things should be. Will teach you what good posters look like and what bad posters look like. So even though the chances of you seeing it physically won't be as likely if we don't do the program in person, you still will learn how to actually build out a poster presentation, which I think is absolutely important as well. Because before the Chicago Check program, I had only did one poster before that. And so being able to add another poster to my resume was also really important and really good.
Thank you. That sounds like a great skill to learn. Thank you.
For sure, definitely. Of course.
I had a quick question.
Yeah.
How like competitive is like the application process?
So it's pretty competitive, but before I answer that question, just because, like I said, for the original people, and it looks like you all kind of want to stay on anyway, I just want to give you all a chance to answer all your questions, just in case you do want to go a little bit early before answering any questions for the newer students who just popped in. It looks like Jengis has a question.
Sorry, it's just a quick one. I noticed that this session is being recorded. I won't be able to stick around past 5 because I need to get to my last exam. But can I download this this recording? And if I can, where would I be able to find that?
Yes. So we actually did this purposely. We're recording it, so we'll upload it to YouTube on our own. So what we'll do is probably, because like I said, because you register for this via Zoom, we'll just take all of this information, all your emails, and we'll just send a follow-up email saying, thank you for showing up. This is a link to the full thing. So this is for everyone. If you can't stay the entire time, completely fine. If you have to go because of finals, like I said, it's final seasons. I'm in the middle of finals right now as well. Please feel free to jump out. And then, you know, we'll follow up with you via email. And also, Jolie and I will make sure we put our email in the chat as well if people just want that information immediately. So yeah, to the original students, if you have to go, please feel free. If you don't have any more questions to leave, but if you can stay, feel free to stay. And does anyone else have any additional questions from the original group before I go back and answer the other question?
No, that'll be all from me. I hope you guys have a great day. Okay, stay
You
safe.
too. Thank you so much for participating.
You too. And I just
Thank
put
you.
my email in the chat if anybody needs it before you log off.
Oh yeah, I will. Oh wait, you want me to put mine as well, or should I just
That's
take
fine.
that?
Well, because you
You can
registered,
have
we have your email address, so
Oh, okay.
yeah.
I'll
That's good.
snag this email just in case. And again, I hope you guys have a good day.
You
Yeah,
too.
you too. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Since this is still a relatively small group and we have about 8 minutes or so before everyone probably starts trickling in, if the newer students who just jumped in want to introduce themselves quickly and give us a little bit background of themselves, you can do that. And then I still have not forgotten your question, so I will answer it as well after you all do your quick introductions.
Well, my name is Farheen. I go to Northeastern and I'm a bio major. And I'm a little confused. Like I'm interested in being a pediatrician, but also like dermatology. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm a little confused, that's all.
Yeah, we'll definitely help. There's a lot of students who come in confused and leave very
Yeah.
on track. So yes. And then the other two students, I think, or it might be. Yes. Your audio is kind of coming in a little staticky. I'm not sure if you have headphones on, but that if you do, you can probably pull them out and that might help. Okay. Muted themselves. So maybe,
Yeah.
okay, we can move on to the next person.
Who else do we have?
I know we have two more students. I personally, I don't like pronouncing names until I learn how to say them. So I don't want to mess anyone's name up, but I know we have Banaz. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. And then I believe Matab is also another student who we haven't heard from, and then Hadil. And they might have, because it's not 5 o'clock, they might still be away from the computer. So with that being said, I'll just go ahead and answer your question, Fareen. So how competitive is the program? The program is pretty competitive. Its level of competition has increased each year that we kind of go on, just because more students have heard about it. Without saying too much though, this year has been extremely difficult trying to recruit students because we're not able to do it in person per se, but yeah, as a whole, the program is relatively competitive. Typically we only admit, I believe, isn't it just 23 students normally?
It sort of depends. So actually last year, since we did the program virtually, we were able to admit a lot more students. So,
Yeah, I think it was almost 30 students. I think
yeah, I think
20.
from Northeastern alone, we had like 8, maybe
8.
9 students.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
and in other years, we've only been able to admit like maybe 4 or 5 that for the in-person thing. So that could really, really work to your advantage, right? Because if we're doing it virtually again this summer, then like I said, we'll have a lot more open slots for
But
each school. Mhm.
but I wouldn't worry too much about the competition level as much as I would just be focused on having a really, really good application that helps you stand out for sure, and just being able to really lean into your story, whatever that might be for you, and just making yourself be as unique as possible, because that's what we're looking for when students apply to this program. Everyone who wants to get in is passionate about cancer research, has been impacted by cancer in some form or fashion, and so on and so forth. And those are all really important things, but I always like to encourage students, like, there's probably other things that will help you separate from the rest of the pack. And so, like I was telling someone earlier, I'm actually someone who was able to participate in the program. So I've been on both the student side and the staff side. And during my interview, we mostly talked about me running a clothing line and how I tell stories through that. And they thought that was really important. I mean, they thought that was really interesting for my application. And so that's what the majority of my interview was. And when I found out years later that when I was explaining that process, that was the thing, that was their aha moment for me, than saying, oh, he needs to be in this program because he is really good and effective at communicating stories and understanding people as people and so on and so forth. So I would focus more on that. And, you know, you have our emails. In the past, I've sat down with students for 15, 20, 25 minutes sometimes just to go over their application and specifically their essays and stuff like that. So if you ever need me as a resource for that, my email is in the chat as well. So please make sure you reach out to me. I enjoy, you know, looking at students' applications and helping them as well. So I think I answered your question. Please let me know if I didn't, though.
Thank you. It helped. Thank you so much.
For sure. Yes, students are starting to come in.
Do I have to admit anybody? No.
Mhm.
Oh, it looks like, okay. So
So
it
there-
looks like a couple of our alumni are joining us. It looks like William Maddie just joined
And Jocelyn.
and Jocelyn. Yeah. Um, can you guys hear us okay?
She's still connecting audio.
Oh,
She should
okay.
be able to-
Okay.
yeah. Hello, Jocelyn. How you been? You're muted still.
My bad. It's been a minute since I've used Zoom. I'm
That's good. I'm jealous. Use it every day.
Oh, you started grad school, right, Sam?
I did start grad school. I'm in the middle of
Yay!
right now.
That's awesome. How's grad school going?
Stressful working
Yeah.
in school. It's interesting though, because like I'm also doing things I didn't expect. So I'm currently coding a website from scratch, which
Oh,
somebody was like, did you go to computer science school? And I'm like, no, this is design school, but I guess this is a skill they want us to have. So I'm like, that's my final right now that I'm working on, is like working on a website from scratch.
oh, that's insane.
Yeah.
Must have been like a crash course in coding, right?
It was, yeah, it was. I mean,
Nice.
my website works, so it's worked. So I'm doing something right. So I learned something this semester.
Love to see it.
How
Hi,
you been?
Jolie.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Did you
Excited about
graduate?
COVID vaccine.
Man, you graduated, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. So what you've been up to post undergrad?
So mostly been job hunting. I through Maggie actually been able to find something at School of Public Health, but that's not until January.
Okay.
UICHR apparently works a little slowly to like
Very
post the
slow.
job and everything. Yeah. So it's just been kind of a wait. And then my parents have like a small business. So like
Yeah,
I
they do,
kind
yeah, I
of help
remember.
out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I remember you saying that. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. And then William, how you been? He might be away from his computer still.
Yeah, he might not, yeah, he might be away. He may have stepped away. Excuse me. So Jocelyn, can you tell us a little bit, or like tell the students who have joined a little bit, like how you feel maybe maybe the program sort of benefited you either in refining what direction you wanted to go in, or
Yeah.
yeah, just some of the things you got out of the program.
Oh yeah, of course. So hi everybody. My name is Jocelyn. You might have heard me talking with Sam that I recently graduated from UIC this past May. So for me, I entered the program as like a recent college graduate. And I think for me, I'm so thankful that I found Chicago Check when I did. Because I think I throughout college was on like the pre-health track, and for a long time thought maybe I want to go like pre-med, apply to med school maybe. And as I started to like finish my college experience, kind of started to question like, is this actually kind of what I want, or do I want to go into healthcare and like what I associate with medicine being like primarily med school and like nursing, and that's it. So I think towards the end of my college experience, I kind of wanted to explore a bit more what was out there. I didn't take advantage of doing experience at UIC. I should have, because it's a public research school, but I just, a senior. So that's kind of primarily why I applied to Chicago Check. I kind of wanted to get a little bit more research experience while also kind of dipping my toes into what else was out there. I think for me, my last semester of college, I was an anthropology student, so I took a medical anthropology class. Through that class, learned a bit more about like the public health field and started to realize like, oh, whoa, like this is actually kind of for me, the mix of what I like, medicine and kind of like social aspects. So I think for me, Chicago Check really solidified an interest in wanting to go to grad school. I'm hoping in a year or two to apply to grad school programs and get my MPH. So I think a lot of that I attribute to Chicago Check, just being able to like have a space to kind of figure that all out, if that makes any sense. Yeah, bit of a ramble, but.
Oh, no problem at all. No problem at all. If
Yeah.
anybody, and if anybody has questions or anything, please go ahead and, raise your hand. I see that a bunch more of our alumni have popped on. So I'm going to maybe just ask them if they can jump on the line for a minute, tell us who they are, what cohort they're from, and, just a little bit about themselves. Root, do you want to start?
Yeah, sure. It's so funny. I was going to ask you, we should go in like a specific order or whatnot. So hi, everyone. My name is Root Ortiz. I was in the second cohort in 2017. And for me, what Chicago Check did was, it was amazing because we had a lot of connections, not just with other students, but with professionals in the field, both on the research and the medical side, on the medicine side. And what it helped me realize was that I was actually, I had my first bachelor's degree in economics, and I was going to go to law school and do like financial law. And it helped me realize that that is absolutely not what I wanted to do. Like, there's no way I would have been happy as a lawyer, because there was a lecture, it was called The Introduction to Cancer Biology, and I absolutely fell in love with cancer biology, and I've never looked back. So that is why I actually continued on with Chicago Check, and I like participating with Chicago Check because right now I went back to Northeastern Illinois University, and I am majoring in chemistry with a focus in biochemistry, and I have a math and stats minor. So that is actually, and in about a year, I'm going to apply to grad school. So that is what I'm doing at this point in time. So, and I'm actually really, really happy with my choice, and I'm going to be doing hopefully my research. I'm going to apply to a few schools, and right now I work with Drosophila as a model organism, but I'm open to other model organisms. So I just really want to do like the cancer research and cancer biology field.
Awesome, thank you. If anybody has questions, like, please just go on, hop in there and ask them. I mean, you'll get a chance to maybe come back to the candidates too, but we'll keep going with introductions. William, do you want to say hi?
Yeah, of course. How are you doing? Good to see your face, by the way. I see a couple familiar faces, Julie and Sam. Good to see you guys.
Good to see
Hope
you.
you guys are all well during this very unusual times. But it's good that we're all here. So, I mean, as Julie said, my name is William. I was part of Chicago Check during 2018. I was fortunate to be one of 16 people selected to partake in Chicago Check. And it's really hard to, I guess, put in words, especially in such a short time frame, what Chicago Check has done for me and how it's sort of guided me to where I am today. I think someone touched on it previously. I think it was Jocelyn, and she mentioned the sociological aspect that medicine is going toward. And it's kind of that saying where it's like, better late than never, because it is something that medicine itself is sort of late in properly incorporating into its field, so to say, rather than just the old, strict scientific or, biological perspective on medicine. We're now incorporating the, as they call it, the psychosocial model or the psychosocial bio model, right? So the whole 9 yards, so to say. And medical schools are really sort of emphasizing this point. And that's something that Chicago Check really opened my eyes up to, not necessarily that medical schools are emphasizing it, but how medicine itself is changing. And it's changing really for the better because, you know, the system itself, while we made, you know, great scientific advances, we were lacking in many ways, in ways that are focused on in Chicago Check, right? Particularly the cancer health disparities that you see, not just in Chicago, I mean, very, very unbelievable differences that you see as a result, not due to the lack of knowledge, but due to like prejudices, discriminations, and other psychosocial factors that come into the play of medicine. So being part of Chicago Check sort of gave more purpose, more meaning, and more direction to where I want to take my career as a physician. I was a pre-medical student then, and I'm a pre-medical student now. I'm actually finishing up my last semester, and I'm currently going through the cycle for medical school at this current cycle, 2021, they call it, I think. And so prior to Chicago Check, you know, I was interested in cancer. I mean, I'm a pretty curious person. I'm sure Sam can testify to that. I like to ask, you know, 1,000,000,001 questions. I think I won an award for, what was it, like to make like a lecture go on longer or something like that.
Most likely to ask a question.
Yeah, so super curious, right? Like the whole 9 yards. But being part of Chicago Check really made me confident in my vocation, right? My purpose and the idea that I want to pursue oncology, right? That I want to become a physician that specializes in cancer treatment, but also advocates for cancer health equity, right? Because it's not just enough for a physician, and this is really the main takeaway Chicago Check gave me was, it's not just enough for a physician to just treat a disease, right? You also have to advocate for those folks that are casted aside by society, right? For those folks that, so to say, fall off the wayside, right? Because society is moving in such a way that not everyone can keep up with it. And sometimes it's purposefully done that way. And sometimes it is as a, what do you call it? Like a unfortunate side effect of the way things are moving. So, you know, it's not just enough to be that great doctor that can, you know, cure all their patients that are coming to them, right? You also have to go and reach out to the communities that you're seeking to help, right? That you've gained this skill to learn from. I mean, Chicago Check is wild. I mean, really, it's really hard to put into words. I mean, I think it was toward like 3/4 into the summer intern, I found myself in a one-on-one meeting with the director of Lurie's Cancer Center, which till this day still blows my mind. You know, I'm actually a community college graduate before I transferred to Loyola University. And at the time, I had just graduated community college, and here I was sitting in front of Dr. Platanius, who's the director of Lurie's Cancer Center, right? And I was so nervous because I was like, what is a kid like me, a graduate of community college, doing in a place like this? And well, that was all made possible through Chicago Check, right? And actually what had happened was the very next summer, I ended up being a part of Dr. Platanius's lab. And, you know, none of that would have not been possible were it not for Chicago Check. That really sort of opens up doors for you to walk through, right? The idea is that it opens the door, but it's not like your mommy and daddy, right? Chicago Check isn't gonna, so to say, you know, get everything done for you, right? You have to sort of step out of your comfort zone and make those connections, make those networks that Chicago Check will really give you so many options to do. I like to compare Chicago Check to like good soil, right? So it doesn't give you everything, but it gives you the right soil that if you make the right moves and plant the right things, right, you end up getting good fruit out of it, right? And that's what ended up happening with me is I ended up getting this awesome research position that unfortunately was cut short because of COVID-19, but I was pretty much in Dr. Platanius's lab from last summer up until things got shut down, so like around March, April-ish. They took very strict measures at Northwestern, and they pretty much kicked every student out who's not a PhD or, you know, a scientist, right, that's officially working there. So super big bummer. But what's awesome is we actually ended up still getting a paper out that we just recently submitted for final review in November, which is crazy. We were working on pancreatic cancer. We identified a novel protein and came up with ways to show that targeting this protein is likely to increase the survival of patients afflicted with pancreatic cancer. So, I mean, it's really hard to think that, you know, when I had graduated community college, that, I mean, I would have gotten to do the things that I got to do. And it really started with Chicago Check. And till this day, I still keep in touch with Dr. Platanius's lab. Like I said, they're very strict on it, so I don't really get to go there anymore. But I have a good feeling that my position is safe there, right? So kind of looking forward to going back, but yeah, I don't know. It's really a lot to say in short time. I'm kind of rambling on too. But as far as Chicago Check and what it's taught me, it's really, I mean, I knew I wanted to become a physician since I was young, but Chicago Check really showed me the kind of physician that I want to be, not just a doctor, but in particular, a cancer physician that, you know, is also an advocate for folks that are casted aside and not benefiting from the modern advances we have in cancer treatment. And that's something honestly, I couldn't trade the world for, because, you know, like I said, it's not enough to just be a doctor, but to be a doctor of the people is the kind of doctor you should want to be. So that's probably the greatest takeaway, other than the great people you get to meet, the great faculty, the great connections. And, you know, Chicago Check keeps in touch with you, you know, so it's always there for you, right? I mean, you become part of a community, sort of kind of like a family. So, I mean, it's kind of hard to put in words really what Chicago Check is to me.
Well, thank you so much. Wow, that's so flattering. Thank you so much, William. Next, maybe we can hear from Elizabeth Breen. Elizabeth is one of a student from one of our very, very first cohorts, and she is now in graduate school. So maybe she can tell you a little bit about that and her path.
Hi. Sorry, there's like sun in the middle of my face. I'm trying to, whatever, you're just gonna have to deal with it. California life. I'm from the very first cohort, 2016. And I'm now in my third year of grad school at UC Berkeley, doing a joint PhD program in sociology and demography. And Chicago Check was actually really awesome, and I think really made a big difference for me. I'm a first generation college student. And there's a lot, I think, that you just don't know if you're first gen, like, you know, if you're just not around people who are doctors and PhDs and who do scientific kind of work. It's like, you know, like I don't know how to dress. Like, I didn't know how to approach people. I felt like everyone was too busy to talk to me, I would assume, you know, like there were a ton of people in my undergrad who, you know, like their dad was a doctor, their uncle was a doctor, whatever. I didn't have any doctors in my family. Like I couldn't, you know, I couldn't just find someone to talk to as a doctor unless it was my doctor. And then they'd be like, I have 8 minutes and I need to look at that weird mole. Like, so yeah, so I think getting a sense of like the culture of science and is huge, and the network that you're exposed to is awesome. I really loved that, like William was speaking about, like you get to talk to the people who are super powerful and influential, but then you also get to talk to like activists, you know. In my year, we spent a lot of time at Access Living, which is a group for people with disabilities. And I mean, I don't know, it was eye-opening on both ends, you know, like to see people who are really struggling with the healthcare system to live their lives with like dignity. And then people at the top who are trying to make changes to like improve the lives of the people who are so far away from them, I guess. Yeah, so cool to hear about it from both perspectives. Yeah, got a ton of opportunities. I had planned to do a joint or a PhD and an MD. And I think I learned at Chicago Check that there's a lot you can do when you don't have an MD. And so I applied to medical school really late one year. I got waitlisted, and then I decided to apply to grad school. And for me, when I applied to grad school, it was like the heavens opened up. Like everyone was like, please come to our school. You know, we're going to pay for you to come here. We'll give you money to move. Like you can have housing. Like, so I'm just saying, if you have a hard time getting into medical school, maybe consider grad school. Or just if you're like, this is really hard and I don't know if I need to be touching people's weird moles, like, or if I need to go $300,000 into debt, you know, you can make a big difference without the MD. Not to say that it's not important to have an MD too, like that's awesome as well. I think that's all I have to say. Happy to answer any questions.
Oh, that's great. Thank you, Elizabeth. That's great. I actually identify with that quite a bit because I went to grad school, and actually my older brother became an MD. But both him and I are the first doctors in our family, and actually the first two people to ever complete like an undergraduate or a bachelor's degree. So I totally relate to that, and just feeling that whole sense of like, I don't know what to do, and being very intimidated to talk to people, really, even people who, who could help me, just feeling like, oh, they don't have time for me. And yeah, and that kind of thing. And yeah, so
There,
I think that's something that the Czech Fellows does give, try to encourage, like, is to at least give people practice doing that,
there
and
are so many steps that like you wouldn't know about, as a first gen person, like presenting papers at conferences. I had never heard of that, before. So yeah, it's really helpful.
yeah, well, cool. Thank you. We'll come back to you and with some questions in a minute. Hi, Maxim. Do you want to say a few words?
Hi, Jolie. Hi, everyone. My fellow Chicago Tech people. Um, wow, it's been so long since I've seen y'all, and it's crazy because, I mean, this is exactly how my research program went. 2020 we're very different, but it was definitely a very fun time. I'm not gonna lie. I think one of the best parts for me was seeing Matthew's like luscious hair. Matthew has such nice long hair. It's so good. Um, but outside of that, the research was fun as well. Matthew was in my group, so I got to see his hair a lot. Um, but like, okay, I think another really good thing about Chicago Tech, like even just having it online, was like just learning how to use Zoom, because like after I was done with Chicago Tech, I pretty much set up a recruitment program for my frat all online, like through Zoom. So like I was using programs that we did in Chicago Tech to recruit people for my fraternity. And like people are like, yes, this is such a good time. And I'm like, yes, shout out to Chicago Tech. So
Be expecting our a royalty check in the mail.
hopefully I get any check from that. But yeah, I'll send that 10% your way. But yeah, it was definitely just such a good time. Like mentoring the high school students, just vibing with everyone, learning these amazing things because I'm a psychology major. I think when I first started college, I started in community college. Um, I went to Moreno Valley Community College, for anyone that knows it. Um, and I was like on the pre-med track, but chemistry just wasn't for me. And it was like, and I kept like asking people like, what am I doing wrong? And they're like, yeah, you just need to put in time. You just need to put in time. And I kept putting in time and I kept putting in time. And I think it was just one of those things that I just had to learn that it wasn't for me. And like, as soon as I like just changed that, because I changed from being a pre-med student to being pre-psych, like for a degree in clinical psychology. And I think I was in like this kind of weird limbo phase where it's like I wasn't sure what I was going to do next. Because like for the longest time, I was like being taught that like it's med school or nothing else. And so I was like, damn, that's crazy, because then I've just changed from the goal to like nothing else. But then being in Chicago Tech, meeting all of these professionals that are just doing these crazy things, um, it's just like, what? Like all of this is possible, one, with the degree that I have, but also like it's minorities doing these things. It's people that look like me. It's people that have the same experiences as me. Like you don't have to come from like a white picket fence like family to be able to pursue the goals that you want. So I feel like if anything, like even without like the academics or anything, um, Chicago Tech was very empowering. Um, like I feel like that is just the word for it. Like I feel like after being in Chicago Tech, I was like, what? Like there's nothing you can say to me because I know I can do it. So bring it, let's do it. Because Chicago Tech told me I could do it. So it was definitely a good time. I feel like presenting our research, that was such a good time. Like just having people kind of let us know what it is that we did right, but what it is that we can improve on as well. Yeah, it was just, I mean, it was just a vibe the entire time. So it was amazing.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Maxim. I just noticed that Dr. Simon has joined us. Dr. Simon, did you want to say hi for a minute?
Sure, I was chatting to not interrupt Maxon. So good to see you all. Wow, I hope you all are doing well.
Hi, Dr. Simon.
Yeah, I hope COVID hasn't taken too much of a toll on you and your lives and your family and your loved ones. Hang in there, and I'm so happy to hear that you guys are here, and so happy to hear what Maxon is saying, and all good.
We have a couple more alumni that we wanted to hear from before we open up the floor for questions, though. So I think Matthew, if you're still here, do you want to go ahead and tell us about your experience? And
hey there, yeah, I'm Matthew Uribe. I'm a student at NEIU.
Uh-oh, did we lose you? Oh, there you are.
Yes, you have. You have lost me, I think.
Oh, you're back.
You're breaking up.
Oh, uh-oh. Okay. Should we go to Rebecca and then come back? Okay. I think he froze. So Rebecca, do you want to go ahead and say a few words about
I think I'm back.
Oh, you are back. Okay, go ahead.
No, I don't think I'm back.
No, you are. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. It says my internet connection is on.
Your voice is back.
Wow. Okay, great. Folks can hear me now. Okay. It says my internet connection is really unstable.
But we can hear you.
I'm not sure if I can really speak too much because I'm not sure if you all can hear me or understand me because of my internet connection.
We can hear you. Maybe keep your camera off though, Matthew, because maybe that takes more bandwidth, I think.
Okay, cool. Well, then I'll just talk and yeah, for sure. I'll just talk. I'm Matthew Uribe. I am a economics student at NEIU. I applied to CHEK because I was initially attracted to it because I had family members with cancer and I'd helped in that process of caregiving. And it seemed like a logical step. And it had a lot of stuff that I was attracted to, a lot of research opportunities. And it was a great opportunity to meet a lot of different really cool people, a number of whom I still work with today. We're working on projects and doing some organizational stuff at NEIU, and working with some folks in the African American community to try to examine how the social determinants of health affect the African American community, and that's been really cool. And CHEK has been an amazing opportunity just to
Uh-oh, did we lose you again? We might have lost him again. Okay. Oh, there he is. Matthew, can you hear us? Okay, well, unfortunately, I don't think we might get Matthew back in a little bit, but maybe we'll just go ahead and have Rebecca talk for a little bit. Rebecca, you want to talk?
Always.
I knew I could count on you.
yeah, I'm reliable in many ways, but in particularly that one. So, hi everyone. My name is Rebecca Monroe. I'm a student at NEIU as well, Northeastern Illinois, and NEIU is actually my third college. So, you know, I'm a non-traditional student in that realm. I was actually musical theater and vocal performance, and then had like a coming to Jesus, although I'm atheist, so I don't know how much that means, but I basically went into psychology and was like, hey, this seems cool. And then I tacked on a women gender studies minor, and I just really fell in love with research, actually, which surprised me because I was thinking I'd be a therapist when I first was going into psychology. I had one of my sociology professors actually just forwarded the Chicago Check email, Dr. Perlow. She's like, I think you should apply to this. So I did, and I got in, and it opened up many doors, just like everyone else is reiterating. At first I was like, I don't know, I'm like psychology and women gender studies, and there's a lot of people going to med school, like, do I fit in here? And there were definitely other psych people. One of our senior fellows, which is basically someone in the cohort, by the way, I'm a 2020 COVID cohort member as well. And Viviana was a senior fellow who had the same major and minor as me, but from a different school. And it was so cool to be able to connect with people from different schools, because, you know, students don't apply to these kind of programs if they don't actually enjoy school a little bit, right? Because you're considering keeping going for quite a while. And so out of Chicago Check, I actually am being funded by another program that's sponsored by the same, I don't know if it's the same grant, but within Chicago Check, called LEAP, Lab Experiences and Program, I think is the acronym. Nailed it, awesome. So I'm being funded to do research assistant work with faculty at UIC. And they're looking at like African-American behavior. How does patient navigation help with that process? And I'm doing coding for that, which has been a really good experience, just to understand like what the nitty gritty of research is when you're on larger projects, and getting mentorship and experience. So that's been awesome. And I'm taking a gap year, so that's going to help fill my CV in that time. I'm still going to have experience and things to do. And I got some cash on top of it, which is awesome. And I also presented at a conference a few weeks ago with people from my research group from Chicago Check, from our research project. So we presented at the Health Equity and Social Justice Conference. And that was a great experience. We were actually like the only undergrads there. So I was like, oh, we're awesome. You know, like it was basically us and a bunch of master's students, and that was hosted by DePaul. So it just goes to show, like, regardless of where you're coming from, with these kind of connections with a community that's willing to actually like put you forward, like when the system was not meant for you to be, if you are a minority, we can do a lot together. And I just applied to the University of Michigan for a joint PhD program, psychology and gender studies. So hopefully that goes well. But yeah, the networking experiences, even if it's online, if you email people, if you follow up, if you ask good questions, and you can type them, even if you're shy, you can email them after. Like, there is no excuse not to be able to network. Like, whether you're shy, whether you're not, there will be space for you. And I'll stop there.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Thank you. That was a really good introduction. But thank you actually for bringing up the LEAP program, because what I did want to mention to all of you on the line today is that doing the Check Fellows program has kind of become just the beginning, right? So we have this great 8-week program, but then we also have opportunities that are available to you beyond that. One opportunity that we have is we every year will hire back about 3 students from the previous cohort to act as senior fellows and mentors to the next year's cohorts. And that is a paid position, and also something that looks very good on your CV, because you're acting in this senior sort of like mentorship role. But then also as Rebecca had mentioned, and actually quite a few of you are doing this right now. William, I know you did the LEAP program. Root, I know you did the LEAP program. Rebecca, you're doing the LEAP program. But we have this program that we've been developing where we try to take former CHEC fellows and we try to match them up in either a laboratory experience or even an experience with one of our community partners. And those are like, they're competitive. I mean, you have to compete for those positions, but only amongst other CHEC fellows, only amongst former CHEC fellows. And so those are paid positions, or in a way to just get more experience, either doing your research or just more experience with health disparities and becoming a warrior. So thank you for bringing that up. That was a really good cue for me. And see, Matthew got back on. Matthew, are you able to hear us now? Did you want to talk to us more?
Yeah, I can hear you guys, but I'm not sure how much talking I should do. It looked like the last time I tried, it didn't work out very well.
I should mention Matthew too, even though he is not like formally a LEAP student, has been sort of doing some work with my boss, Dr. Tchairsky, who is an economist. And I know he's also been working with our CHE, Alicia Kalamian, who is on the line. And they're sort of working on a project that has to do with the NEIU Center of Health, which is being developed out of Chicago CHEC. So I think we may have lost him again. At any rate, I see that Dean Stern is on from NEIU. So we'd say hi to Dr. Stern. Don't know if you want to say a few words to the students or pop on and say hi. Well, maybe not at this time. Okay. So why don't we just go ahead then and open the floor up to questions? Does anybody want to ask any questions to any of the alumni or Dr. Simon or myself or Sam about the program? Crickets. Wow, I feel like I'm back doing comedy again.
I'm so sorry, Jolie. What? Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
That's okay. No, that's okay. I just wanted to open up the floor for people to ask questions. Like I encourage everybody on here to ask, please ask questions.
Absolutely.
Alumni, you can ask other alumni questions, because we definitely have a good spread of people from different years. So you all have had different experiences with the fellows program.
Yeah, I was gonna say we do have a question in the chat that I'll just repost here. I know people have been asking it, but I think it might be beneficial for everyone to talk about it in the larger group. But Iran had asked, when you applied, did you have any exposure to public health curriculum? So if anyone wants to answer that for the larger group, that'd be nice.
Well, if I may, I'm just going to start off by saying I first learned about public health and disparities and how they ravage society when I joined Chicago CHEC. At the time, I had graduated with a bachelor's degree in economics, so my mind was all about numbers. And I went in for my interview, and it really, Chicago CHEC is about public health and seeing people for what they are, and they're people, not numbers. So there's a bit of differentiation there. In terms of a public health curriculum, I think what you need is an attitude for people and for advocacy, as opposed to strictly public health or another subject matter. And that's why a cohort made up of a diverse cluster of majors is such a beautiful thing. It's a great thing because you have point of views from different areas. So if anybody wants to piggyback off of that, I mean, that's what I got from Chicago CHEC, and I'm sure I'm not alone in that.
Ruth, I'd love to piggyback on that because I 100% agree with you. What I think William was talking about earlier of having basically having not so great experiences with the doctor. I know plenty of people who hate going, and not just because they're scared to find out, but because they've had bad experiences interpersonally with doctors. I honestly have had, I just broke my foot. Dr. Simon's face. I was literally walking to my bathroom and I just stepped on the outside of my foot wrong, and I broke like the base of my 5th metatarsal. So like if this is my foot, it's like kind of right here. I was
It's really hard to do, walking to your bathroom.
It's hard to do, you said? It is when you're me. But I know it's good. I know it's a good story. You can laugh. I'm not offended. You can all
No,
laugh.
I'm not laughing. I'm actually crying for you because that's really sad that you broke your foot just walking to the bathroom and not doing something like more fun.
I know.
You know, like I was skiing or I was
I know.
Climbing Mount Everest or
Rebecca, you should have said I was skiing.
I think the anticlimacticness of the story actually falls better during this time of COVID. I think we all need a little laugh. But like going, honestly, I didn't even know I broke it for about 2 weeks, and just the experience trying to get in with all of this going on. And then the doctors I've seen were like pushing me out the door. They were like, get out, we don't care about you. And I was just like, come on, I just broke my foot. Could you like care like this much? Like, I know it's not the end of the world, but it'd be nice if you cared a little and just like acted like it was okay to give me some time and hear me out. Okay. Cause like I've been living in my body for a long time and I know it well, even if I don't have this medical expertise. And I think coming from the sociology side and going into these experiences, I'm just like, oh my gosh, there's just so much, we could just do so much better. And like Ruth is saying, the lack of diversity and interdisciplinariness of the medical field and of public health in general is why it is the way it is. It is one of the largest reasons, I think. So having the ability for people from all different backgrounds, perspectives, and disciplines is only going to benefit people. That means more ideas, more brainstorming, like more collective thinking. And that's how like really refined theories and practices come out, in my opinion. So yeah, I can't talk to Chicago Check well enough. Also, Dr. Simon, super funny, and and she'll tell you what's real. Okay, like you'll be in good hands.
Thank you. Please, nobody do what Rebecca did and break their foot going to the bathroom. That's my piece of medical advice for the evening. Be careful where you step in your apartment, especially in quarantine. You know, it's really hard to walk with a mask on. So just be careful if you're wearing a mask.
Hi, I have a question. My name is Kimberly Newtall, and I currently attend NEIU. And I assume that if the program runs next summer, well, when it runs next summer, excuse me, it'll probably be virtually. And I just wanted to know how students coped with that, just being at the computer screen all day, doing research. And I know personally, like this semester, the virtual Zoom, I got burnt out. I was overwhelmed just sitting at the computer all day. How did you guys manage, and what were some things that you would suggest if we get accepted and then that's something that we have to go through again, the whole virtual research thing, because I know it can be overwhelming to look at the screen all day.
Jocelyn, you want to speak to that first?
Yeah, I can speak to it a little bit. So I guess maybe the one thing, since it was from 8 to 5, I think, right? Or 9 to 5, I think. So it's like a regular job. Yeah, right. So the one thing I would say is I did develop some back pain. That being said, I think we would have like an hour of lunch every day. So that I would take it an opportunity to like physically get up, walk to the kitchen and like cook for myself. Like making it a habit to like cook something specifically, like not just like heat something up randomly, I think helped. I kind of just try to take care of like my physical well-being by going on walks and stuff like that. Cause you're right. I last March kind of had to do the transition from like in-person to online learning. And it was definitely a bit of a transition at first, but I think it's mediated a bit by the fact that, again, like we have an hour of lunch, and then kind of the rest of the day, I kind of tried to like physically get myself to move. And then I think throughout the program, we kind of talked about how, because the program was online, a lot of us were kind of afraid about if it would be awkward, if we would all have our like screens off, how would we connect with somebody that like we aren't physically in front of? Like all of these people that I've met through Chicago Tech, with the exception of like maybe one person, I've never actually physically seen in person. So I think that was a real fear going into it. Like, am I gonna like actually connect with these people? And like, I think the most insane thing is that like we made it work somehow. I know in the first week, we kind of had these like pitchakachas, which is basically just give a presentation and introduce yourself. I think that different mechanisms like that kind of allowed us to connect with one another. I think starting with like week 4, we would also every Friday have somebody come and like, it was just an hour of wind down time. We would play like games. There was one where like we would have a pencil and we tried to like, I would have it and then I would try to like give it down to Dr. Simon and then she would pass it over to Root. It was like just kind of like goofy fun like that. And then I actually don't have all the money in the world to spend like on those fancy desks like that you can move up and down, but I literally like got a bunch of textbooks and like made myself like a makeshift standing desk at times because again like the back pain. So like there's kind of ways around it. And like I see Rebecca with her like I should invest in one of those too. So like there are some like cons to the whole online thing, but I think we were all definitely able to make it work.
Yeah, I use towels, whatever you can prop your computer up and stand up and, move your legs around. Compression hose helps too, compression socks. Just so you know, Kimberly, I mean, it's a great question. It is not the same as being in person, I agree. But my entire lab, all of the research, so I have like tens of millions of dollars, like $30 million in NIH funding. I had to transition that all to virtual. So my entire team of 15 plus people and all the students that I work with and mentor for research, they're all online now. Everything is being done from home. So it's like the reality. And so I didn't want to bank on this vaccine and COVID going away, because it's not going away next year. We're going to be wearing masks and physically distancing and washing hands and everything for at least another year. And so I didn't want to, put people at risk, but I also didn't want to bank on that because it's better to assume that it's going to be all virtual. And if we're able to meet in person for a few times during the summer, then that's cool. And that's just something that would be easy to pivot to. It's a lot harder to pivot to virtual. Like it took an incredible amount of work to pivot this in-person curriculum and program to virtual. So that hopefully answers your question and assures you that we are trying really hard to make it as fun and as rewarding and as useful as possible. Because even the LEAP experiences are all virtual too. So all the people who then go on to so I have programs in some of our bench science labs, and right now our bench students who are in bench science labs are virtual. And that's really, really hard. But it still gets to be put on your CV. That's important.
Thank you, guys.
Oh, you're welcome. Kimberly, if I may, if I can just say one last thing, what I've learned to do also is to kind of like incentivize my experiences so that if I'm sitting at a computer for 8 hours a day, I'm going to be giving myself, at least like a 5 to 10 minute break where I'm doing something I enjoy. and I look forward to that, and it makes me want to get into my work even more because then I get to go on my break. So that's been helping me a lot. And I hope you can find like the little joys, like while you're doing, your full on virtual day. Because even without Chicago Check, this past summer, I was doing summer research from Northeastern, but I was doing it from home. And all of my research was based on Excel spreadsheets for data that was collected. And then it was imported into a computer software. So that was rough. Like doing that, like for hours and hours at a time, all from home, sitting down. So give yourself a break is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I understand. Did you do the SCSC research, summer research program?
I did not. I'm a part of another program. Oh, I'm another program called Mark Scholars, and I did present my research at SCSC, and then I presented it at a national conference, but that was online too.
Nice. Yeah, I did that over the summer too. That was a good experience. So I know it's a challenge, just trying to transition, and yeah, it sounds like this is a great experience. So hopefully I, can get into.
Yeah. Maxim, did you have your hand up? Was there something you wanted to chime in with?
I mean, I feel like everyone's covered pretty much all of it very accurately. It definitely is something that you have to adjust to. I think I remember having to like get towels, like the Simon said, but like to sit on because like my lower back was beginning to kill me. I remember like just having to like stand up for a little bit, like just turn your camera off really quick, stretch, and like get back into the groove of things. But I definitely enjoyed not having to like commute that much. I think when people think about like the virtuality of everything, they think about like the things that they're missing. But I think something that I definitely enjoyed was not having to commute because you could sleep until like 8:30 and then wake up, get yourself like set up and just sit down and have your coffee and like, hi everyone, and you're right there and you're working. And so that was definitely very nice. I think.
Or you can drive Uber, as I was told. I don't recommend it though, nor do I endorse that.
Yes, please do not Zoom and drive, essentially. Do not Zoom and drive. It's very dangerous. But yeah, see, like it makes your life pretty flexible, I think. So I think when we're thinking about like the virtuality of things, yeah, there's some things that we're missing out on, but it also makes things very flexible because you could have meetings with like your research like team members, like just really quick right after the meeting, and like then just move on and just have quick discussions. Using Slack was also really good as well. And like you just learn a lot about Zoom. Like Zoom is such an essential skill right now that like not a lot of people have. And so if you have that, that's something that you can market to people. Because I feel like even after we're done with COVID, we're probably still going to be using Zoom for a lot more things than we did before. So I feel like that's an essential skill that you learn from this as well.
And you can spend all day with your cats.
Also, we had a fashion show, so you can't just always be in sweatpants. So we're gonna have we had fashion shows. I think they were scheduled. They weren't random, were they? They're scheduled. But Rebecca was always coming through with the fits. I remember that. I really enjoyed that. So and then just bonding with your cohort as well. I think being online made that pretty good because like you're in your comfort zone, you're at home. And like if you don't feel like talking to someone, you don't have to talk to them. Like there's no awkward like, oh, this person came and sat next to me and now I have to talk to them or something. But then also like if you're just open to people, like you're just talking, getting like new perspective on things. There's no way you can ignore me, to be honest. Apparently, my voice is really good because I made a podcast. So I feel like there's no reason why you want to ignore me, Rebecca. But also make use of the chat function. I think that was something that was crucial this year, because like just sending comments like that, like just into the chat, it just helps to build more like camaraderie with everyone. So yeah, just little things like that. It just really spices up the program really well.
So did you guys, I'll just ask the last cohort that was all virtual. Did you guys feel like even in this virtual platform, you were able to kind of form connections with each other, even though you've never met really?
Oh yeah, definitely. I don't know about everyone else. I feel like everyone else has the same answer, but definitely.
Yeah,
I only say me.
100%.
Oh,
No, I was just gonna say 100%. I agree. It's, I think, a unanimous yes. I think. Rebecca, go ahead.
I just love you all. That's all. No, I think, I don't know, I'm kind of outgoing, if you can't tell, and I just loved getting to know people and putting out some jokes out there. And I wouldn't ignore Maxon. I love Maxon, but I can tease Maxon because we created a bond even though the program was virtual. So it is absolutely possible. And it happened, and not only that, but I made a lot of professional connections too. So it's yes, it's a transition. Yes, it's hard. 2020 sucks, but this was like a sparkle in the darkness of 2020 in my life.
If I may add real quickly too, I honestly, as somebody that Rebecca kind of made the point that she's more extroverted and outgoing. I am not. I am more like introverted and naturally quiet. So I actually think had we been in person, I might have struggled to like ask a question when we had like professionals and stuff. Oddly enough, the virtual platform kind of eased my nerves a little bit because as Maxon mentioned, like we have the chat box on Zoom. So I know towards the beginning, I felt so much more comfortable. I remember like having a question, but being like, wait, what if like this is a dumb question? Or what if I like can't like, what if I stutter? What if I would just use like the chat function. And like that actually helped ease my nerves a lot. And like as the program progressed and I like got to know everybody there and became like so much more comfortable with them, I like would start like using like the hand raise function instead and like verbally ask my question. So I actually think that maybe like in some way, obviously I would have preferred to have the program be in person, but like there was kind of that silver lining to having an online virtual platform thing.
Excellent. Thank you. Does anybody else have questions? Anybody want to ask any of the alumni questions? Or us about the application, things you need for the application? So should I assume that everybody on this call right now is going to apply then? No?
I mean, you all should. I'm just saying. Don't let me.
Yeah, I'm not jaded either. You should definitely apply and tell your friends to apply.
Exactly.
The more the merrier. That's one thing we did this past year because it was virtual. We were able to use the funds that we would have needed for in-person programming to add to have more students. And I thought that was a really important thing. So we were able to award more spots and give people more opportunity. So that was the other advantage of virtual.
I do want to say congratulations to Chicago Check for being renewed for an additional 5 years. The fact that you got, a renewed grant, that is
yes,
excellent.
thank you, Jesus. That's what I
Yeah,
was thinking.
exactly.
Well, as soon as I got that, I was like, whew, I don't want to have to write that grant for another 5 years again. That was a lot. And I know Jolie, and the rest of the team who helped, they were very happy too.
Well worth it.
A lot of work.
Let's just say that grant is big enough to use instead of the Costco toilet paper to prop up your back.
That's right. If I had printed that out, so I don't print things on paper anymore. That's a long time ago. Yeah, if we had printed that out, that would be a great desk.
Yes.
Like 1,000 pages. That's a little tree.
Actually, here's a question that I don't think I ever asked or got the answer to. Are students eligible for more than one summer, or are they eligible for only one summer?
It's once. If you didn't do it virtual and you want to do it virtual, Elizabeth, I'm sorry, you can't. But though you can apply if you haven't been a senior fellow. If you're an alum, you can apply to be a senior fellow. So we take 3 alums back every year. So you can apply to do that.
Did you say the grant was 1,000 pages?
Oh yeah, something like that. I lost count. It's a lot of work.
Is that, would you say that's
That's
the
why you want to
average?
do it well the first time. What? I'm sorry?
Is that like the average length of an application?
No, that's the average length of a large center grant. This is a large center grant. So that's why there's all this like gray hair and all this jazz. But it's all good. You know, but that's why you want to do it right and you want to do it well. And that's why I'm such a stickler for detail. Right? Because I don't want to have to do this stuff again. Right? Right? This is why I'm like, nope, gotta do it this way. No.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Also, I see boldness and beauty, not just gray hair. I didn't notice, but I think gray hair is beautiful.
No,
too.
that's because my girlfriends, L'Oreal, Revlon, whatever, Clairol.
I'm just saying though, I see women rocking
There's
the
some-
all gray.
There's some friends. Oh no, I'm
You're
not.
like, that's not me.
Not unless I could have that really cool, super white hair, which isn't going to happen, or the really cool, like purple hued gray.
Ooh, yeah.
Right. So one day maybe I'll dye my hair that color, but not now. I'm not ready. I can't let
Fair.
myself do that.
Fair.
It would have been much easier though these last several months.
Fair.
I think Maggie's going. She's going purple. She's been dyeing her hair purple.
I thought it was red or burgundy, like some dark red.
Purple. Yeah.
Was it purple? Okay, I
Yeah,
thought
purple.
maybe it's just my computer screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
It has changed a little. I think each time the dye is a little
Yeah, I think she's playing with it. You guys would like Maggie. Definitely love Maggie. She's not on this right now, but she's like the mommy of the program.
bit. Mhm. She has the huggability factor.
Maggie actually, I think she actually delivered. And Maxon, did you give her a ride once or twice or something? Because
No,
I haven't.
so here's the thing, Here's the thing. So I'm just gonna give you guys a heads up. For this virtual cohort, I was essentially Maggie's favorite student. And so she felt like she needed to just hand deliver my, graduation present. And it was nice because we got to take a selfie together. And it was just such a vibe because she had her mask on, I had my mask on. And we took a great selfie. And I think the rest of the fellows were pretty jealous, but that's just how things go, when you're exceptional. And so it was nice.
She delivered
that
a
for
book.
me, okay? Can you let's make this clear. All right. None of my team is delivering me anything in person.
Maxon, she came to my apartment door and I was asleep. And my partner answered and didn't know that it was her. And I was so devastated. Like I woke up and I missed the opportunity to meet Maggie. It was like one of the saddest moments in my life.
That's what I'm saying. You got to stay ready so you don't have to get ready,
And she texted me like, "Are you okay?" I was like, I was sleeping. I'm so sorry. I'm like, please let me take you out for coffee one day when it like feels safe. But
nope.
My
Nope, you
partner
can't
got
be
to meet Maggie and I haven't. Anyways, I'll get over it one day.
you can't be caught sleeping. You have to stay ready. You never know when Maggie's gonna come. You gotta be
I
on the
know, I failed that test.
At any rate, I don't know if you guys can see me sharing my screen, but this is Maggie with one of the students. So high huggability factor. So anyway, do we have any other questions?
So Jolie, for students who are planning to apply, when is the deadline? And what exactly are they going to need in terms of materials?
Those are excellent questions. Thank you.
Of course.
So actually, the application is open. We shared the link in the chat, but all of you will actually get a follow-up email after this, and we'll provide the link again to the application. It'll be open until February 28th. And what the application is composed of is there's an online questionnaire component that you'll fill out that has a couple of short essays to complete. And then we need transcripts. I believe that can be unofficial or official transcripts. And then we're also asking for 2 letters of recommendation. So that's what's involved in that. And then oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I'm so sorry. I was just gonna clarify. The 2 letters of rec, they can be from faculty that have had like communications with you, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So it doesn't necessarily need to be like a STEM professor or anyone like that. Okay,
No.
someone who knows you.
Yeah, somebody who knows you. Yeah.
Can you explain what the interview process is like? Is it multiple rounds of interviews, or is it like a group virtual interview now? How does that process work?
So
This.
oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. Go ahead. It's like this. It's like a bunch of us on the Zoom screen asking you questions and hopefully not being too intimidating.
So is it like everyone who applied at that point, or is it just you and then like everybody?
It's the faculty. It's some of the faculty and some of the staff.
Okay. And that's just a one-time interview, or does it occur again to like kind of narrow it down or something like that?
Nope, it's one time,
Oh.
one shot. And we're
Awesome.
nice. We try not to bite.
I'm scared. No, I'm just joking.
No, like all my interviews for my research team, my whole team interviews candidates for spots on my team.
Mm-hmm.
I do everything in teams. That's good. It's good practice. It's
Yeah.
intimidating at first, but it's good practice.
And how do you guys pick the teams that we'll be a part of, or do we get an option as to what team we'll be a part of? How does that work?
Well, we sort of at the beginning of the program, we give you guys a personality test, and based on those personality tests and maybe just some of the ways that you're interacting with each other in the program, we'll kind of build teams together like that. But especially last summer, we ended up having more team projects. And so people were able to switch it up a lot more. So you're not just like working with the same team all the time.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
I was gonna to add to Kimberly's question, just say that I remember for my interview, I was really nervous too, and I'm extroverted, but I still get nervous. And my Zoom wasn't updated, and so it wasn't working. It wouldn't open, and I was like, no. I restarted my computer. I was like, I have my outfit, like I'm ready to go. And it just wouldn't open. And I was kind of panicking. And when I finally figured it, they were really great about emailing me. They were like back and forth. We were like trying to figure it out together. I was like, hey, I've been in the waiting room. I promise. Like, I'm not just showing up late. It's just been a struggle. My partner ended up like getting his phone, and he was like, I think this is the link, and threw it in front of me, and like I made it work. But when they asked me how I was like, I'm a little stressed. Like I was pretty upfront about it. And because of that honesty, I was worried that they wouldn't like me. I don't know, that they wouldn't think Dr. Simon's laughing. But like I really was. I was like, you know, some people think that's not professional. That's a reality. But I was real with them, and it ended up working out. So even in that scenario, which was kind of stressful, it still worked out, you know. I just wanted to share that.
Thank you for sharing that, Rebecca. That is sort of a teachable moment, right? I mean, because if we are, I think Zoom is here to stay, right? I mean, not for absolutely everything across the board, but I think now that we've been in this state, people are going to use it more because there are some advantages. I mean, we can talk to people, or we can have meetings or lectures with people who are in Europe right now. Sure, it might be cutting into their bedtime or dinner time or whatever, but it really opens up a lot of educational opportunities, I think. And so I think it's really good to get proficient. And unfortunately, sometimes the best teacher is failure, or having troubles, or having to troubleshoot something like this. So yeah, come on and do it with us. Apply for the program, and have
Plus, I end up recommending whoever comes to me after needs med school recommendations or grad school. I'm always happy to support that too. So I know I'm not the only faculty member, but since I'm the only one on the call, so that is very helpful too. Our goal is to really invest in you all in as many ways as we possibly can. And so that's our goal.
Mama Maggie just wrote me one. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Yeah, no, I have to go, but it was really great to see you all. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us, Dr. Simon.
Bye.
Have a great evening. Okay. All right, so do we have any other questions that we want to address, or?
I have one last question.
Sure.
Okay, my question is, if at any point in the application process we need assistance, is there anyone that we could reach out to give us guidance at any point during the application process?
Yes, you can reach out to me. I can put my email in the chat again. I'm at Northeastern, not
Okay.
physically on campus right now, but I work at Northeastern, so you can reach out to
Okay.
me. We're also going to be doing, gosh, I think it's either, it might be January. I think that we are
Yeah,
planning.
January 14th, Thursday, January 14th, and Thursday, February 11th.
What are you doing?
We're going to have another kind of webinar, and I think we're going to focus a little bit more on
The application.
yeah, how to complete the application, how to do it, how to get a letter or things like that. So
Sounds great.
for you, there you go. Oops, Sam, did we lose you?
No, I'm here. I got to finish my finals. So yeah.
That's okay. I mean, if we can stay on longer. I'm just wondering, do other people have questions? Do we want to keep going, or do we want to wrap things up? How are people feeling?
I think it's up to Kimberly and Elvia.
Why would you say my name?
I think I'm just saying, I think everyone else here is like alumni.
Yeah.
If they have questions, then yeah, of course we could stay on.
I was going to drop my email in the chat. If anybody wants to reach out to me, you're more than welcome to.
Oh, thank you. That would be great.
Yeah, no worries. I'm happy to answer questions.
I don't have any more questions, but thank you guys for your time. I appreciate it.
Yeah, me either. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you guys for joining us. It's been a really fun night.
Thanks for organizing this, Jolie. I hope everyone has a good evening.
Yeah. Yeah. So nice to see everybody, especially the alumni, and please, potential candidates, please reach out and ask if you have questions. We will follow up with you guys by email and send you the link again. And yeah, and otherwise, have a great evening.
Bye.
It was a pleasure seeing all you all again. Matt, I love the beard, by the way. I've been meaning to say that like all call, but I didn't get a chance to.
It's this quarantine, man. What is it? No shave November. It's been like no shave the whole year.
Yeah, I feel you. But yeah, it was good seeing y'all, man. Have a good rest of y'all
Seeing you
night.
guys. Take care. Good night.